Hi everyone, welcome to the next video. In this series from World of Flowers we have our heart-shaped design ready for sort of Valentine's Day, although I'm not sure whether we might overlap Valentine's. It depends how long it all takes to colour, but that's okay. Now I am looking at some of the designs and thinking that some of the flowers are the same. So these two are the same, these three are the same, these are the same, these are the same, and I'm debating whether I want to do them the same colours or different colours from each other. And I haven't really made up my mind. So I think what I need to do is this one, because there's only one of these, and then I don't have to make a decision quite yet, because I guess I'm in an indecisive mood. Let's come in closer to this one. This is quite a strange looking flower. It bears no resemblance to any sort of realistic flower, with this sort of odd heart-shaped petals in the middle and then more regular sort of realistic maybe looking petals around the edge. But I'm just going to have a go and see what I can come up with, really. I think it could be quite an interesting one to colour. Now colour wise, I do feel this page needs some blue. So I thought, why not just start here and do blue in the bottom. So I am going to turn to my blue section in my Holbein pencils. I'm using Holbeins. Now I did say in yesterday's video, in case you missed the beginning, I do have a swatch chart for the Holbeins. I'm going to use the Spectrum Blue. It's not a colour that I've used very much, so I'll have a play with it. Spectrum Blue. Yes, I have a swatch chart for the Holbeins, and I also have a couple of comparison charts. I'm trying to think which ones they are. Oh yeah, comparison charts for the Prismas and Polys. That's right. So I'm going to try and fade this off a bit towards the tip. They're quite small, so I think I'm going to struggle to fit too many colours in here, but I think I might put a lighter colour in there. Yes, I've got us a comparison swatch chart for Prisma and Poly. Poly's quite difficult because we've got quite a lot of pastel-y shades in some of these are, so that was quite tricky. However, if you have the Brut Funa Macaron or the Castle Arts pastel tints, you will find a lot of the pastel tones in there. I have actually done comparison chart, I think for now my brain is struggling. I've done one for Brut Funa and Holbein, because Brut Funa Macaron are a copy of Holbein's There's a Match for Everyone. And then I did one for Brut Funa and Pastel Tint, and they are identical. Now with the Brut Funa Macarons, the names are even the same with the pencils for the Holbein, but the pastel tints have different names. So if you've got those, you can certainly find a lot of the colours. So that's just a little aside. So it will take a little bit of fiddling, because if you've got the pastel tint, then you'll need the pastel tint chart versus the macaron, and then you'll need to know the right macaron name to match it to the Holbein. It could be a bit of a stepped process, shall we say, but hopefully it will work for you. Now the next layer here looks very similar, but I want these to be a bit darker. So I'm going to try and put more layers in the middle, but if it doesn't quite work, I shall go over with a darker pencil, because I want these to look at, because they're slightly behind the others, so I want the colour to look a little bit darker. So also what I'm going to do is I'm going to get a lighter colour to put over the ends, and if I put a bit over the centre part of that, it will make it look lighter, possibly. I give it a go. Right, just there we go, just stretching a bit. I've just had my lunch. I was going to do something interesting, and then I got downstairs and the dishwasher needed emptying, and there was other chores to do, and there was a crossword to do, and I sat down, did a bit of crossword and just made some toast. So wasn't really the most exciting lunch, but you know, that's okay. And my son eventually came down and he also had some toast. And then my husband came down and also had some toast. I also had some chocolate. I finished off my packet of chocolate, which has been really nice. It's a locally produced chocolate. They don't do it on a big scale. And I don't even know if I can get that one again because it's small batches. I'm just going to stop there and get a lighter blue. I'm going to turn to the lighter blues. Let me see what's going to match. Some of them are actually really quite similar, and I think they might be a bit too similar. I'm going to use the sky blue. I'm not sure whether it will show up too much, but we'll see. It does look different though, but I don't know. We'll find out. So I'm going to really put quite a lot down on the tip of here. But I'm also going to put some on the centre so that it hopefully makes this bit look darker. On these I'm only going to put it on the tip. And I can always go over with a bit more colour. These are smushing together nicely. You see, I'm doing a round. I'm finding that this circular movement seems to be helping them to smush better. I don't know whether it's just me or what, but if you're not finding they're smushing, give it a try, see if it works. It's worth a go. So for this one, I don't want to take this light colour all the way down. I'm just going to take it about halfway. This one is too small, so we'll play with that in a minute. Same with that sort of edge. It's too difficult to try to not avoid it. Try to avoid it, not try to not avoid it. There we go. They have smushed up nicely. So in here, I'm going to go back to this darker blue. Remember the spectrum blue. And just really get some more layers down in there. That's better. That's what I was wanting. So you can really see that that bit's darker and underneath. And then I'm going to also go around the edge of each of these little heart shapes. I may have to sharpen in a minute. I don't think I did the end of that one with this blue. It doesn't, if I did, I didn't do it very well. That's better. There we go. Yeah, I've been messaging my son. It was very odd. His packet of rolls, I always give them a roll in their lunch. They prefer them to bread. They say they stay a bit nicer. And the packet of rolls was odd because there were 6 in the pack, and the end I opened they were fine, but the 2 at the bottom, they seemed to, one seemed to have a sultana in and one seemed to have a bit of dried apricot. And although there's absolutely nothing wrong with those items, to have them in a packet of wholemeal rolls seemed a little bit odd. So I was a bit worried, and of course I hadn't, of course you don't notice until you've bought them and got them home. I'm going to use this indigo just to do this little line around here. I somehow feel that needs to be really dark. And so, but I'm not going to press really hard. I'm going to do quite a light layer, and then I'm going to go over it with one of these colours so that it doesn't look a million miles away colour-wise, if that makes sense. Anyway, but he said it tasted fine, so that was good. So I think I'm going to not buy any more today because I've already been out, and I would like to have a little more time on this page, on this video. And I'll take the ones that are actually got these odd bits on and take it back into the shop and talk to them about it. This is Spectrum Blue. Now it's the supermarket, it's my local supermarket that I always shop at, so I know the staff. I have to see, we may have a receipt somewhere for it, but we may not. But we can prove it's purchased there because it's their own brand, so we couldn't have got it elsewhere. I think that's dark enough for me. If you want it a little darker, you could also put another layer of indigo over the top, but I don't want it to stand out. My pencil sharpener's wobbling, it's getting on my nerves. If you want it to stand out more, but I think it's fine. No, the petals I mean that we've got coming up, I'm tempted to do in a slightly different way. See, I'm looking at the way these lines are. Can you see? So for me, it looks like that might be a darker bit and that might be darker than this central part. So I'm almost tempted to make this edge darker and this centre bit lighter, as if the petals are curling outwards. So I think I will try it, because it'll just show you a different technique for petals that I have done before, but it's not one that I do a lot. So I can show you that. And let's just make a start. So this is the spectrum blue, by the way. So I don't know if I said that when I did that bit. So I'm going to go on the edge here and then fade like that. So I am slightly not taking so much notice of those lines, but I'm just sort of doing my own thing a little bit. And it's going to be the same on each one. Sort of fade it off, and then when we get our paler one, we'll add it in. We'll see if it's dark enough. It may need a little bit more. It's some more layering, but we'll see how it works out. Looks like it's dry, which is good. My son says he's getting the next train. I hope it's dry for him this afternoon. It was spitting just the tiniest bit when I was out. Just when I decided, I didn't even notice. I got my phone out to send a message to my husband, and my screen was getting little tiny dots. I was like, it must be raining. I hadn't even noticed. It was so fine, but I was showing up on the screen, but I couldn't get my phone to work properly. I was trying to message him in Discord, which is a sort of messaging app, and I just couldn't get it to work. The keyboard wouldn't come up, so I could click in the box where I wanted to type, and then the keyboard didn't appear, so I ended up having to phone him. And when I got home, I asked my son about it, and he said his was fine. And I just closed everything, all the apps, and what it looked like had happened was my speech to text app was running, so I think it was waiting for me to talk to it or something. I don't normally talk to my phone unless I'm on the phone, excuse me, which is very rare for me. I don't tend to make calls on the mobile because it's so expensive. I'm on pay-as-you-go, so I don't have any free calls or anything. It's compared the landline, we have free calls, so I always make calls from there. As long as you're not on the phone for more than an hour, it's free, and then you can always hang up and ring again the person. So I use that. Oh, which reminds me, I need to make a call. My doctor appointment's been cancelled. I need to reschedule that or schedule it with somebody else. I need to calculate, actually. This is just to discuss my HRT, hormone replacement therapy, so nothing at all serious for me. And she wanted me to pop back in because I'd had just a bit of spotting with it, and she said, we'll come back and talk about it once you've tried it out for, you know, the end of your dose, and then, you know, I need a repeat prescription. But my appointment's been cancelled with her, so I don't know if she's going on holiday or got a conference or just isn't working that day, so I need to reschedule Sky Blue. But I need to calculate how much I've got and when I need to go in by, because I'll need a repeat prescription. So I'm starting is about here, so that's my really dark bit, and then I'm going to take it to the centre. I don't want a white bit in the middle, but I want it to get lighter and lighter towards the centre like that. There we go. So I think it looks quite pretty with the white. You could leave it like that if you wanted, but it isn't what I was going for. So I'm going to add the light blue in. There we go. But it's Valentine's Day on Friday, isn't it? We don't ever celebrate it, but this Friday we will be on our own. We were last Friday. It was our first Friday alone for so long, and unfortunately husband had lots of doctor's appointments for Friday afternoon, so hopefully this week we can do something nice together. Whether we stay in, go out, it doesn't matter. Just have some time, just us. We sort of had that, but it was a bit, yeah, no, it wasn't ideal. So yeah, we're hopefully this week it'll be better. I have actually suggested to husband that he takes a bit of time off work just to sort of have a think and come to terms with stuff, and because he has been considering retiring, but he needs some purpose, you know, rather than just, if he just gives up work, I know he's going to get really low mood, because in his job he does help people a lot, and that gives him a lot of pleasure, which is lovely, and so he needs to replace that with something where he can do the same thing, but with less stress involved, you know, which like I do here. Lovely. But he doesn't want to, my sister, like, get him to do what you're doing, and I was like, you know, but with his art, and I was like, it's just not what he wants to do, you know. Now that isn't dark enough for my liking. This is nicely burnished, this isn't really. Just having a little think. I think I'm going to grab my Spectrum Blue and redo those edges a little bit to get them a bit more intense. That's what I feel is missing. Like that. And then what I'm going to do is get my blending pencil, which I need to clean the end of, because I was using it for green, wasn't I? And this is the Polycolor Koh-i-noor blender, and then just take this to the middle a little bit like that. That's it. So we've got quite a light bit there. You could use your blue again, the sky blue, but I don't really want to darken the blue, so that's why I decided to use the blender. There we go. And besides, I've got it here, so why not use it? It's not a very good reason, is it? But never mind. I just felt that's what I wanted to try. Anyway, so yes, it's a tricky one. It's a really tricky one. I mean, I can't see myself ever not working, earning, that sort of thing. It's just something that, I mean, I can't say as I'll always be doing this. It just depends whether there's an audience that is interested, whether YouTube still exists, or that sort of thing. You know, you just don't know. You know, I've changed jobs so many times. Well, I mean, not as many as some people, but you know, I've done so many different things. What did I? I've done childminding, I've done lecturing, I've taught in a college, I've been a research assistant, I've done marking assignments in the university, I have, yeah, done childminding, then I've been a receptionist, I've been an administrator, I've been a project coordinator, I've been a, what was that, data input clerk, I've done filing, I've done all sorts of different, you know, data entry, all sorts of different jobs, and then I've also published books, sold prints and art pieces. I've been a freelance writer, a blogger. Right, back to my blending pencil. I'm just going to work round. So I've done an awful lot of different things, and then of course this YouTubing. I've also bought and sold second-hand books. There was that one as well. That was a nice one to do. So, you know, there's a lot. I've done a lot, and he's done a lot too. He's worked for a garden centre. He looked after students, barman, gardener, sort of. Yeah, actually did do a bit of that. And then sort of programming in IT, and then IT consultancy, IT support. Yeah. So he also worked for DEFRA, which those in the UK will know. It's the Department of Fishery and Farms, is it? I can't quite remember. Yeah, as a temp, answering the phone line and helping people out with their claims for money, you know. And so yeah, he's done a lot too. But he likes jobs where he can be really helpful. So it's just trying to find something really. Yeah, I'm quite liking this. I've got to do something with that. I'm wondering whether to go with the indigo on that turned over leaf. I don't want to go really hard. I'm going to put a little layer on, and then a little layer of the light, the sky blue. There we go. Right, there is that one. Now I think I'd quite like a little bit more, a little bit of shadow between the layers of petals. We've got quite a bit in the centre, but not so much around these. Now I could use the indigo, or I could use the grey that I used for this flower. I think the indigo will work quite well, so I'm just going to give it a sharpen. I can see why this, I'm using this Tegal, which came with the Holbeins. I can see why it tells you to close the hole, because I'm getting loads of bits falling out of the hole of the sharpener, out of there. But I don't want to close it because you have to rotate the bit which tells you the thickness of the blade. I can't remember. I can't work out how to. Oh, there's an arrow. There's an arrow and it's at number 1. That's what I need to do. So I'm going to go around the edge. It's got very bitty. I've just sharpened it, I think. I'm not sure if I need to go around there too. I'm going to just do these, and then I'll brush it off, because as I say, it's quite a lot of pencil crumbs coming in. So I'm just going along the outside of Johanna's line, and then I'm going to brush it off and see whether I need one around the middle. I don't know if I will, because of it being that much darker. I'd be okay without it. There we go. I hope everyone's okay today. I guess it's Wednesday, is it? I think, if I put this out at the right time, I should do. They call it hump day, and I just think that's a bit weird. But what they mean is that it's because you're not more than halfway through the week yet, and you're not near enough to Friday for it to feel good. But for me, weekends and weekdays, they have pros and cons really. It's because husband is semi-retired. I'm going to brush that. Where's my brush? Oh, there it is. Yeah, I don't want to fiddle with that centre bit, because husband's semi-retired. He's not in work every day. Now we've got these little flowers around here. I'm just looking around to see if there's any more of those, and there isn't. Now should I do them all the same colour, or shall I vary them? See, I had done these leaves the same colour on this middle one. You couldn't see what I was pointing at, so maybe I should do the same flowers, the same colours. And what colour should we do? Well, we've got pink, orange, yellow. We have got a little bit of violet. We haven't got any red, sort of just proper red, so maybe I'll go for that next. We could use the signal red or the scarlet. Let's go for the scarlet. I can't see my colours very well. That's the scarlet. Oh, it looks quite orangey, but that'll be okay. Now these are quite small. So here it is, scarlet. So I'm going to do them all in one colour. Just give this a sharpen. There we go. So I'm going to try and fade them towards the tip of the petal. Oh, it is quite orangey, isn't it? That's okay. We can use some deeper red for some other items, but this one looks quite peachy. I think it's fine. Now, of course, you can use more delicate colours too, but I quite like intense. Now, we've started with intense colours. I think we have to sort of continue with them. Oh, the sun's shining. Yeah, it does look quite red now. Maybe it's the sun. Oh, it's so bright. It's not shining on the book, luckily, which it tends to do in the summer, doesn't it? Now, if you want to burnish the ends of these petals without going over with more of the same colour, don't use white. What does red and white make? Pink. So it's gonna change the colour, but you can absolutely use your blending pencil. But it may flatten it in the sense that it might make it all look like the same shade, but I haven't really got, it doesn't look that different. I think I'm going to put a little bit of a darker colour in here, because although I said I'm just going to use one because it's so small, it's not quite looking how I'd hoped, so I know that I can get a darker colour and just get it sorted, if you know what I mean. Get it looking how I wish. So this is the scarlet done. We're going to get, whoa, my eyes are blinking like mad from that sun. I am going to use a crimson, which is a really dark red. Here we go, crimson. And I'm going to use it around the circle of the centre. Just to try and make it look like the petals might be sloping down towards that central part of the flower. This one's a bit easier because you can see the whole thing better. Oh, I've got a jumpy nerve in my eye. Should forget that. Where's some jumping? Very weird. Anyway, doesn't matter. It's now I'm going to do the centres of the flowers. I don't want to do them just one colour. I realise they're small. But what I'm going to do is start with the, if I can get it out, I'm going to start with the yellow ochre and do the bottom of the circular section here. The bottom, and then just sort of fade it up a bit. I'm going to do slightly lighter colour at the top. I think we'll do the lemon. This is the lemon. I need to sharpen it though. Yeah, that #1 setting seems a good setting on the Tagal sharpener, with the colour with this length of tip that the pencils already have, if you know what I mean. They're already quite that sort of size. Whereas if you use the #5, which is the really long thin tip, which I put onto this pencil, it takes a lot of sharpening to get it to that length, and you feel like you're wasting a lot of wood. I don't know with regards to how good they are with regards to the amount of wood that you're using, but it just feels better. Now we have the leaves on these little red flowers, so I'm just having a look on my swatch chart to try and figure out which greens might look nice with red. Not the holly, the evergreen might work. Up here I think the sap green's rather nice, but we've used olives already, so I think I'm going to go for the evergreen. Oops, there. It's in the blue greens, but to me it looks like it's pretty I want to say central, but that's not a good word. But anyway, evergreen. To me it's like a mid-green, neutral. Maybe that's a better term. It's not browny olivey. It's not bluey. It's just somewhere in between. What I'm trying to do is do a slightly lighter layer near the tip. So layering it up a little bit more here and less here. But we can always go over with a slightly darker colour if it's necessary. Now I don't know whether these leaves are part of this. I think they could very well be. But I don't know whether I want to use the same green for this or not. Because once we've done all of these petals, I will do that stem there. But once we've done all these petals, we might want a different green. You know, just so we've got a bit of interest, because the idea is to make this very bright and colourful with lots of different colours. Then keeping too many the same is not going to really work with that idea. And you know, I might keep some of the flowers the same. I mean, you don't have to, because even if they look the same, they might come in different colours. We know that happens with lots of flowers. A few examples like the gladioli or the tulips. Even daffodils have different shades of colour. Crocuses, all sorts of flowers. Pansies and what are those things called? Yeah, anyway. You know what I mean, I'm sure you do. They all come in with different colours, so you don't have to use the same one. I think I'm actually going to grab my brown, grey, the warm grey 5, and just put a little bit of shadow in on the bottoms of these leaves, rather than going for a darker green shade. I'm just going to use this. I think it's going to work quite well. I'm still trying to think of what I meant, what flowers I was talking about. They look a bit, they're a small flower, a bit like a pansy, but they're a plain flower. Polyanthus, there you go. I didn't give you a chance, did I? Sorry. Now we have these 4. Now with the blue, I think a blue-green leaf can work quite well. So I'm going to have a look at what we've got. We have got a holly green, which is quite pretty. We've also got bottle green, jasper green. I think the bottle forest and fir are quite dark. I am going to go for the holly green. I think it isn't actually really that bluey, but I think it's pretty, so I want to use it. Ow. When you push your pencils out of your pencil case and they're quite sharp. Ow. Now we've got quite an interesting shape here. I'm just having a little think. I think I'm going to make the edges lighter, because with a variegated leaf, often the edge is lighter. So I'm going to start here, and I'm going to lighten towards the tip here with this side. And then on this side I'm going to lighten towards the line. And start darker again there. Like that. Now leaves don't look like this, but I think it adds some interest. I've started doing them like this lately, and I just like them. So dark there, and then light as you go. Okay. It looks a little bit better when the lines are across the whole leaf, but I need to get a bit more intensity in there. I might need to sharpen this up a bit. I think I will. break. There we go. Now I've got some dotted lines on this leaf. I'm going to ignore them in the sense that I'm going to treat them just like the filled in ones. They're not actually ignoring them. There we go. I've been getting on all my family's nerves this weekend with the Masked Singer. I've been trying to guess the identity of Wolf. Now Wolf, I'm sure, must be Marty Pellow, who was the lead singer in Wet Wet Wet, who I loved as a teenager. And I have been looking at all the clues, and there is only one that doesn't fit. Now the thing with the clues, if you've ever watched, whether I assume it's the same in other countries too, is that they're often such a broad clue that they could actually work for anybody, which is slightly irritating, but on the other hand, part of the game, part of the fun. I'm now looking for a lighter green in this section to do the tips. And I don't want an olivey green, so I'm thinking maybe the surf green or the celadon. I think probably the surf green I'm going to go for. So there was a very interesting clues. We had a tartan picnic blanket, and he's Scottish, and we had an egg sandwich on it. Now that's the strangest clue, an egg sandwich, but I did some digging, and there was an interview with him going back a long time, and he was travelling to Memphis, and his granny was worried about him, and so she made him an egg sandwich to eat on the plane. So I think that maybe that's something to do with it. There was some Skittles and a bowling ball. I'm going to go over that a little bit darker. Skittles and a bowling ball, that was quite a difficult clue. My sister said he's got a favourite place that he likes to go to, which is called Bowled or Bowling something, but I never found that clue anywhere. Now, how are we doing for time? Okay, I don't want to go on forever. Now, what I am going to do though is this little tiny piece here. Can you see these little teeny cute leaves? And it actually goes up, I think, higher up. I'm trying to just see where it goes. Yes, it goes underneath this flower and pops out the top. So we'll do the whole of that. So I want one colour that I'm going to use for all of it. I'm thinking quite a dark colour because it's sort of in the background. I think it will work nicely with a dark colour. So I'm not going to go with the fir green, which is almost black. Oops. But I'm going to go with this colour. This is the forest green. You can see it's a really dark green. Just going to give it a sharpen because it's got a lot of fine details to do. There we go. I may need to resharpen this one. And just start filling in this. Now I didn't put any shadow in here where these overlap, or here. I'm thinking about that while I'm doing this. This is like a dark cobalt green, isn't it, in the polychromos? It's almost blue. I actually did some colouring yesterday, and I was colouring some lily pads, and I picked a colour that I thought was greeny blue, and it turned out it was bluey green. Now what I mean by that was, rather than it having a green, rather than it looking green, it actually looked blue. So blue lily pads were not what I was going for. So I ended up having to go over it, and I went over it in a yellowy green, a really light yellowy green, and that worked really well. So that was really good. But you sort of learn these little tricks. Some people know, some people are taught it at school, you know, the different colours and how they work, and other times it's a matter of learning. Now up here, I think this is a continuation and it goes also a little bit up here, so I'm just going to do that bit too. If it isn't it, I don't think it matters really. I think it works anyway, sort of thing. But it would sort of make sense for it to weave its way around underneath, and for Johanna to sort of fill any little gaps with this sort of tangling vine. Now there's one going down here and one going across here. I'm pretty sure that this is the one that we're following. Go back there and do those little leaves, but I think that's it. I'm just going to sit back a little bit and look. Yeah, this bit's definitely a completely different shaped leaf. I can't see that one anywhere. Oh, it's some over there. Oh, it's the leaf of that, because there's one there. There's a bit over here that you can't see, which I really don't think is the same, because the stem is just a line. So I think that's it for that one. So I think I'm going to make that do for today, just because we've done 40 minutes again, which is what I think we did yesterday. And yes, it is taking a long time, but that's okay. There we go. So there's our next bit. Oh, if you do want to, where these leaves overlap just slightly there, this is my warm grey 5, a little bit there and a little bit there, and then along the edge of the flower like that, where there might be some shadow from the flower. Now you can shadow here as well, because we didn't do any here on this one, and here and here like that, if you wish. You don't have to. I'm going to do the edge of that too, if you want to. There we go. Okay, so that is me done for today. I hope that was okay. I seem to have done even less than we did yesterday, but I think I did it all. But anyway, that's that. Tomorrow we may do some that are the same. Maybe this group of 3 or this pair or something. I've got to make a decision. No, I'll do it before I come back on, or else it'll be a little bit frustrating. So, but thank you for watching. I hope that you enjoyed the rest of your day, and please do like, subscribe and comment, and I hope that you'll pop back tomorrow to see the next one. Thank you so much, and happy colouring.